here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, we is stoned, immaculate.
Hello and welcome. This is the C86 show. I'm David Eastaugh. As you know, we'd love a special guest. This week is not one but two members of the Would-Be's who I spoke to very recently to find out more about life, love and poetry and all that other groovy stuff. This is the conversation with the two members, Julie McDonnell and also Paul Finnegan. So you'll be able to tell each one apart quite easily. Also, last year they brought out a new album which is available on Bandcamp. I will put a link to that in the notes below, so you'll be able to click on it and buy a copy or download one. And also there's talk of them doing some dates this year, 2025, which you'll hear at the end of this fascinating interview. So after several minutes of interest but casual chat, we get down to the exciting subject of the early formative years. And I believe Julie goes first.
It probably started quite young, really. I think it most likely came from my parents to begin with. And while neither of them played instruments or sang, I think my dad probably sang a couple of songs as party pieces at some stage or another. But music was really listened to at home in the house. So we had a record player. My dad collected records, so we had the likes of... I would have been listening to all of this and they'd be playing it anyway in the house. So it would be Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Bob Dylan, Melanie.
Oh, we love Melanie.
Yeah, Medicine Head, Bowie, Velvet Underground.
God, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
A father playing Velvet Underground.
Exactly. And Jethro Tull, the Beatles, the Stones, all of that was there at home. And I think even visually that had an impact on me as well. Just the artwork, the record sleeves, I remember them all.
Yes.
I can't remember which Jethro Tull one it was, where you opened it up and there's this wonderful illustration of the four of them on the inside of it. And it's not Aqualung. I can't remember which one it was, but so
was it a drawing of the band?
It was a drawing, yeah.
Because I remember getting an early one, which was, I think, Stand Up, which seemed to be...
That's the one.
It had a few beautiful sort of romantic, melancholic singles, which I obviously liked.
So I would have... I suppose it was in the background, but then as I was growing up, I was listening to them more and more myself and learning songs from some of those albums.
Yes, yeah. My God. And what was your first single you went and bought with your own money, though?
Oh, that was Aha. Yeah, God, I think I must have been 13, 14, and I was mad into Aha.
Who wasn't?
That's what I was buying at the very start.
What was your first gig you went to?
I would have gone to... I remember my friend's brother taking us to a band called the Golden Horde. They were a well-known band in Ireland at the time, so I do remember going to see them maybe when I was 14, 15. I remember seeing the Waterboys in the Noormore Hotel, which was a hotel in County Monaghan. They played there one time. I think I was maybe 14, 15 at that time as well. And then when I started sort of venturing up to Dublin, the Wonder Stuff, I think I went to see.
Right, wow.
In the SFX in Dublin. So I think I was 15, 16 maybe at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what was your moment, Paul? What was your early musical kind of moments that happened in your childhood?
Probably similar to Julie, just the older family members with what can I remember? I remember Aladdin Sane, obviously vinyl. Again, amazed by the covers, probably more than anything else. At
yes,
years of age. Tattoo You by the Rolling Stones, the one with the face on it. I think there was a Blondie record there somewhere. Could have been a compilation, one with a blue cover on it. But for me, probably more just looking at the covers at that age and not really listening to music until a bit later, probably through, again, Matty and Eamon were probably my biggest influence of getting into music because they were a bit older. They used to listen to John Peel every night.
Right. So that was quite something. It took a little bit of time to get into John Peel. I remember my first time was listening to things like I Am the Fly by Wire and feeling like this was quite different to what I was listening to on or hearing on Radio 1 or my brother's record collection, thinking this is quite challenging but kind of curious at the same time.
Yeah, I think I only started noticing songs probably about 9 or 10, but it was always the lyrics that used to, make me interested, because the lads would take a lot of stuff off the John Peel show and play it back on cassettes, and I'd be listening to what they were listening to, and you'd have stuff like Half Man, Half Biscuit, and
Yes,
the
classic.
funny lyric that used to grab my attention, time flies by when you're a driver of a train. Remember that song? And stuff like that. And
Yes, the Trumpton Riots.
Stuff by the Cramps. And
so were you all, because how many were there of you in the whole family?
Well, there's 10 in my family. There was six boys and 4 girls.
Wow, that's like the Waltons on steroids.
Yeah, more or less.
So were you all quite musical?
Yeah, some of them, the older ones, probably got a guitar first, and they didn't really stick at it. I suppose they sort of got busy with life and had to give it up. But I suppose Matty and Eamon were the ones that stuck at it, I suppose, and decided that's what they wanted to do. And I was looking at them going, that's what I'm going to do.
And who was bringing musical instruments into the house at that stage?
Our eldest brother Patrick was first one probably to get a guitar. He bought a guitar, and he didn't really play it too much, so Matty picked it up then. And my mum was quite musical. She used to be singing a lot of Patsy Cline songs. And
right, so there you go. And what was your first gig that you went to at that stage?
I remember I wanted to go to see the Smiths with the lads in Dundalk.
Right.
They said I was too young. That probably would have been 85 or something. I was pretty young at the time, but
that was that Meat is Murder? I think Meat is Murder had just come out at that stage, hadn't it?
Yeah, I think it could have been that. They played in Dundalk, Dublin, and I think it was Belfast. They did 3 or 4 dates.
Yes.
So,
did you get to see them, by the way?
I never got to see the Smiths. No.
Right, but you were close.
Yeah, close.
Yes.
Almost. Yeah.
So Julie, what happened when you get to 16 then? Do you leave school at that stage, or do you go on to college and university?
I did leave school initially. I was 17 though. I was in my 5th of 6 years at school, and I was asked to make a decision really. Things were sort of taking off with the Woodbees at that stage. So I was asked to make a decision really to stay or leave school, to be able to sort of give it the time that it needed. And so I did leave school initially, but I did go back in the 6th year then, and I did do my leaving cert, and I did go to college then after that, after I had left the Woodbees at that point.
Right.
Yeah, that was in 91, yeah.
So when did the Woodbees become a thing? When did you form your gang?
Well, it started with Matty and Eamon. Paul, you'd be able to tell that a bit better, I think, than me, but I wasn't the first singer anyway. I think there were 2 or 3 other singers before I got.
Yeah, the lads would have been working on a few other projects prior to the Woodbees. They had a band called the Nobodies,
right,
with a male singer. That was probably about 3 years before the Woodbees, so they would have been doing some cover gigs and some original stuff mixed in.
So was it the sort of 85, 86 that they started playing music?
The lads were gigging with the first band, and they started the Woodbees probably about 87 or 8.
Right.
Around that time, so it happened fairly quickly. I think Matty was playing in a variety show in our local town, and he met Aileen, who was playing brass in it at the time. And she knew Julie. She went to school, same school, I think, wasn't it, Julie?
Yeah, we were in the same year together, yeah.
Same year. And she said she knew a good singer. And so we started jamming together and working on songs. it happened fairly quickly. We some local gigs and covers and sneaking in some of our own stuff here and there.
Yes. Did you, because the 80s was quite a curious decade, wasn't it? In the sense of there'd been so many musical shifts at that time, after punk and post-punk, then you had that kind of mainstream, had the Trevor Horn production and that kind of Frankie, and ABC and Duran Duran. And then you had the indie scene. And I really felt that it was when the Smiths appeared, that 5 years when they were on the scene, it captured and sort of created quite a movement, I felt, at that stage. So for those 5 years, you then got all those other bands like the June Brides and Mighty Mighty and the Mighty Lemon Drops and the Primitives and the Darling Buds. So did you feel quite connected to hearing those sort of bands?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be stuff we'd listen to, all right, more so than the new wave stuff that was prior. I suppose the Smiths did pave the way for, more of a indie thing we liked, with bands you're mentioning, I suppose. But I suppose with us, maybe it was a little bit different because we had the brass. Not as many bands probably had brass instruments.
No, I think the June Brides had a bit of a. Did they have?
Yeah,
They had a little bit of a Phil Wilson and gang. Yes, but no, they didn't really. But then you had bands like Shelly Ann Orphan, didn't you? And some sort of quite interesting and quirky outfits that appeared in the 80s. And people like Everything But the Girl were quite acoustic and jazzy.
Yeah, they were. I suppose John Peel again would have been playing a lot of those bands you're mentioning.
So we grew up on the east coast of Ireland, and so we did have access to BBC and BBC radio, and a lot of Ireland was living with only two channels over on the west and in the north and northwest and southwest and all of that. But we did have access to music coming from England, from London. We were able to listen to John Peel, and we did get to see the Old Grey Whistle Test, and we were watching Top of the Pops every week and all of that. So we were being fed a lot of what was happening over across the water, as well as what was going on in Ireland as well. So there was quite a mix of stuff happening, I mean, we had access to our Irish scene, but we also had access to what was happening across the water.
And had you been watching the Tube at that stage in the sort of 80s as well? Because they used to sort of highlight some quite interesting and quirky bands as well, which they'd often go to different areas. I think they'd gone to Northern Ireland, hadn't they, and done a piece about the music scene there. So they had been very good at sort of promoting different worlds, and they did a really good one on Scotland and the Hellfire Club as well. So that was quite interesting. Yes, there was quite a lot going on actually at that stage. Yes, and obviously we'd had you'd obviously had some major bands as well as a lot of indie bands coming through from Ireland as well. Was that quite an inspiration, seeing people making it, so to speak?
Irish acts making it, or
yes,
I suppose you had the big names. I couldn't say I was that into them, to be honest with you. Like say U2 and stuff like that, I wouldn't be that much of a fan. But it probably helped generate a bit of interest for other bands trying to push it, at the time, because I suppose there was a lot of bands out of Dublin getting signed in the late 80s.
Yes. Did you like that band called Five Go Down to the Sea? Were they on your radar?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the name. I couldn't say I know too much of their stuff.
There were bands such as Power of Dreams. There were some Cork bands who were doing quite well over in London as well and getting signed. There was the Hitchers from Limerick. They were doing quite well in London as well. I think they had got signed as well. So there was definitely music feeding over into the scene over there. And I'm not, I suppose, since the Undertones, possibly there wasn't anyone as successful as them, perhaps. What would you think, Paul? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I suppose on a more indie scene, there was bands, really great bands like A House. I don't know.
House, of course.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
They were great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was another one. Was there one called Brian? I think there was another band.
Yeah, Brian. Ken Sweeney. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's just had a reissue as well, hasn't
that's
it?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And also, I think one of the reasons there were so many indie bands from the 80s was there was a huge amount of unemployment in Britain at that stage.
Mm.
And there was a lot of people just signing on, and there was job seekers allowance and enterprise allowance schemes. I mean, did you have a benefit system like that in Ireland as well?
We did, but we would have had mass emigration at that time. So a lot of sort of the younger generation were moving over to London actually for work. And,
Right.
yeah, so I'd say that that definitely fed into it. So yeah, so economically it was pretty pretty dull over here, and people were leaving. There was a lot of emigration. There was a lot of leaving the country.
Right. My God, that's quite amazing. Because
Yeah.
also during that time, obviously it was quite a lot earlier. There had been the miners' strike, which kind of created a lot of issues, and there had been Chernobyl and the Greenham Common, and then there'd been Red Wedge, and then the Anti-Poll Tax League. So there was a lot of kind of angsty young lefties from the SWP party and things like that. Was there quite a political scene as well in Ireland for you?
Well, it would have been sort of the Charles Haughey days, and sort of the notorious brown envelope time, and Charles Haughey telling the nation to tighten their belts a little bit and watch what they were spending while he himself was living the good life, we'll say. So there was quite a lot of austerity around at the time, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of businesses closing down. Even my own father's business at that time had suffered badly, and so yeah, there were pretty hard times. Yeah, so some were doing well, a lot of people weren't.
Yes, I just remember. I remember the music was great in the 80s, but I found when I think about it, I think actually it was quite grim, actually.
Yeah, it was grim. Yeah, but the music was amazing, no doubt. Yeah,
swings and roundabouts, really.
Yeah.
So then, yes, the Woodbees. How does that sort of how does the lineup develop? By the way.
Well, when we initially started, it was 3 Finnegan brothers: myself, Matty and Eamon, Julie, Aideen, and then there was a drummer, Pascal Smith. He was a chap the lads would have known from playing with years prior, but that was the initial lineup when we started. When we recorded Hardly Ever Wrong, that was the lineup we had.
So when did you go into the studio and record your first that first session then?
90, was it 89, Julie, or 90?
89 was I'm Hardly Ever Wrong.
Right.
We did that in Sun Studios in Temple Bar in Dublin. But we also recorded the B-side, I guess, then as well, didn't we?
Yes, because
which was Hyperactive Boyfriend, I think. Is that right?
Great Expectations.
Oh, Great Expectations.
Yes. And I want to say what goes without saying, and there is there.
Well, that came a little later, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first really session we did proper was Hardly Ever Wrong, was it, Julie, I think, when we went in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's such a fantastic song. Can you remember how that came about? I mean, it's just kind of, you hit gold quite quickly, didn't you, at this stage?
Yeah, well, Eamon wrote the lyrics and Matty wrote the music, so I don't know how exactly to come up with it, but I guess it was a lucky strike, maybe, It's just one of those times when it all gels together in the studio. It happened quite quickly. I think we did the whole thing in 8 hours, and it came out really well.
Yes.
Certain something,
Yeah, there were only 250 copies of that record pressed. It was with Danceline Records, and we had, I think John Peel had requested one of them to be sent over. He'd already heard some demo tapes that we had done. I think that's right. And so he did receive one of those 250, or a couple of them anyway, and he played it a lot.
Yes.
And that's what really accelerated things for us.
It's quite amazing because I've got I don't know if you got it, but I had sort of still got sort of quite a, I don't know, a cupboard of John, not a cupboard now, but they've slightly got lost. But John Peel tapes, I used to always record it on my trusty TDK D90 cassette. And I sort of have the one where you get played quite a lot on it, I guess the session. And he was such a massive fan, wasn't he? He was so enthusiastic about that sort of song and that session that he did. You must have been sort of absolutely chuffed to bits at that stage.
Yeah, definitely. Especially from being fans of listening to his show. It was a dream come true, really, to hear him play the song on the radio and be so excited about it. It was, it was mind blowing.
Well, I would imagine.
The first night he played, I think he rang the house and he asked to send over more copies that he was going to send them around to BBC DJs to see what they played. And, he was really genuinely sort of looking after us and trying to get the best for us because he thought the song was great. And
yes.
The session then soon.
Yeah, so you got the session. This was in March 1990. So you did the song in 89, got it released in 90, and then so when he sort of, or John Walters phoned you or contacted you, where did you record your session? At Maida Vale.
Maida Vale, yeah.
Right.
We had the drummer from Mott the Hoople was the producer.
Yes, Dale Griffin.
Yeah. He produced the session.
Can you remember much about that experience?
Yeah, it was quick. It was, I think it's something like an hour a song, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was about 4 or 5 hours we were there.
Yeah, it was really quick. Yeah. And they didn't hang around. They wanted you to get in and get out and do it as quick as possible. And I remember them saying, "We're not making records here, hurry up." And again, it was just it went really well, that session. I think we really pulled it off well on that one. Julie's vocals were great, and it just gelled. There was a certain magic to it, I think.
There was. Yeah, it was a really, really, really memorable experience. Yeah. Even just the studio itself. It was the large studio, I think, where the orchestras are recorded and where Bing Crosby last recorded. So there was I remember the plaque up on the wall. Just the atmosphere of it, and but also there was an energy to it, definitely. And I think that was really captured on the day. It was great. I remember it really well, actually.
God, if only we had more cameras taking pictures of all these events.
And we don't have any photographs of it from the day. I don't think we took photographs. You just didn't really in those days,
No,
you remember. It's all about the experience.
Yes, and also photography in those days, you'd either have a film of 24 or 36, which would almost do the whole year, wouldn't it? Now we do that. It's like, and it was such a big thing when you processed it or sent off and waited weeks for it to return. So then after that session, did you get some live dates and start doing some more touring at all at this point?
Yeah, after John Peel played the song, we got a lot of interest from labels at the time. Every record label in the world nearly was ringing the house and wanting to talk to us and give us shitloads of money and stuff like that. And that got a certain buzz going. We did a couple of tours, I think, did we? We did Liverpool and London a few times.
Were you headlining or supporting at that stage?
Some of them were headliners. One, I think it was Planet X in Liverpool.
Right.
In a small underground venue. The venue in New Cross was another place. And the Mean Fiddler, I think we did on some sort of a rock week thing. There was a lineup of different bands on.
Yes.
So we were more busy, I think, talking to labels every time we went to London. We sort of had a whole day of meeting A&R people coming in.
Right. Did you have a manager?
Our brother was looking after us, James.
Brilliant.
But not as much in a manager sense. It was probably more Matty and Eamon that were the main sort of ones that were steering the ship.
Yes. So you went for Decoy Records at this stage.
Yeah. At the time, as I was saying, there was a lot of labels, and I suppose Matty and Eamon were sort of worried that they were going to, change the band or change the sound and the look, and sort of like the idea of what the indie was offering. It was Decoy Records. It was a French chap, Alain, I think it was his name.
Right.
We're on Portobello Road, I think.
Yeah, shop on Portobello Road. But what they were offering sounded great at the time. It was our own freedom to do what we wanted to do. But unfortunately, they didn't have the money to make the record a hit,
Right.
So it probably wasn't the best idea, maybe.
We had all the major record companies lining up. We had a kind of it wasn't intended to be a showcase gig in Dublin, but it turned out to be. It was a very well-known venue in Dublin called the Underground, funnily enough. And the A&R men actually couldn't get into the place. So there are stories told about A&R men being locked outside, banging on the door, trying to get in, saying, "I flew all the way from London to see this band. You have to let me in." So it was pretty crazy. But we did have 11 record companies when we totted it up at the time, like CBS, like Virgin, like God, name them, Paul.
Warnermead, WEA.
Yeah, it was just Chrysalis. Yeah,
Island offered us a good deal.
Island Records.
Yeah,
I suppose they would have had lots of money from Bob Marley and U2, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they brought us into the offices. I remember when we were over in London, showed us around and introduced us to all the crew and
yeah.
told who's going to be doing art and everything else. But again, when you're only 14, I suppose, which I was, you wouldn't be paying too much attention to the
and then Aidan and I were 17, let's say, I think, just about. And we were probably thinking, "Oh God, yeah, let's go for one of these," because it was so exciting. I mean, we really should be going for the big deal. But the decision wasn't ours either. So. But I'm kind of glad. I mean, I am glad it didn't go that way. God knows how sort of the path would have gone in a completely different direction. And I'm not sure that any of us really would have been really wanting that at that time.
It would have been. Yes, it would have been. It could have ended in tears later.
It could have ended in tears.
Rehab.
Rehab, exactly. And I'd never have gone back to school,
Right.
That's what we're going to keep telling ourselves.
But then
so we count our lucky stars,
Yes, sometimes. Yes, you have to be careful what you wish for, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's interesting to think back on it now, because I think it was the right decision, actually, even though it might have felt like the wrong decision at a certain point when things weren't really, the momentum was waning and the money wasn't there and all of that. But I think when you look back on it, I think, look, there's no regrets, really, I suppose,
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was 1990. Then 91, you bring out a couple more singles, Silly Songs for Cynical People, and then the wonderful EP as well. So is 91, are you still a unit? Is the band still very much alive at this stage?
Julie left, I think, around the end of 1990. Was it Julie? 91? Yeah.
1990, yeah.
Right. So
I was gone. Yeah.
You were gone.
Yeah.
Was that a big decision in your life?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think it was a really clear decision. I had absolute clarity on it in that I sort of noticed that I did want to go to school. I did want to get my leaving certificate, as we call it over here, and I wanted to go to college, and that was always plan A anyway. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go to art college, and I sort of had a massive realization, I suppose, what I was giving up in terms of my future, you know.
Right. My
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
Well, there you go. Well, you know, you feature on those early singles, so
yeah,
it's all good stuff. And then,
yeah.
Paul, how did you navigate the 91 then with these two singles?
Yeah, after Julie left, we got a singer called Eileen Gogan. I think the lads put ads out for an audition, and we recorded 4 tracks then for an EP. I think it was the Cynical Songs for Cynical People EP. We got Stephen Street produced it.
Oh my
Yeah, it was
God.
91. We did 4 tracks with him in Dublin, and the next EP, the Wonderful EP, was with Jessica Corcoran. She would have done Ned's Atomic Dustbin,
Right.
I think, and the Wonder stuff, I think. It was through the label, actually, Decoy, that got them to produce it. Yeah, so we released those 2 EPs, and then soon after, probably 92-ish, I think Matty and Eamon were sort of getting a bit disillusioned and losing interest with the whole thing, really. So we decided to call it a day.
Right.
92, so it was fairly short-lived.
It was very short-lived, wasn't it, really?
Whirlwind romance.
And then what? And then do you, for the 90s, what do you how do you navigate the next period?
Yeah, well, I was fairly young when the whole thing finished. I was only 16, around that, and on 17. I had left school. I left in second year in secondary school, and I didn't go back. I started drumming with a rockabilly band.
Right.
I was sort of leaning towards the drums more so than the guitar around that time. 15, I started switching. So I joined a rockabilly band, and they were pretty busy at the time. We were playing 3 or 4 nights a week.
Right.
Ireland, up Cork, Belfast, Donegal, everywhere. So I was making some money and thinking this is all right. But I did that for a good few years, and then got into more other stuff, session work and bits and pieces, teaching music and other bands, and cover things and money make gigs, really. So sort of stuck at it, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when does the band resurface again? When do you start thinking about the band? Is it 25 years later or 23 years later?
We got included in it was a book by Tony Clayton Lee, an Irish journalist. He put a book out called 101 Singles You Should Hear Before You Die.
Right.
So we put I'm Hardly Ever Wrong in there, and we went to the book launch in Dublin, myself, Matty, and Aideen, the brass player.
Yeah.
And we got chatting to Tony, and there was a chap, the drummer from the Frank and Walters. Do you know?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And we sort of come up with the idea, how about getting the band back together and having a bit of fun and maybe doing a few gigs. And Ashley said if you get back together, we could do a gig with them. I think they had a show coming up in Dublin a couple of months after that or something. So I think Julie got a phone call probably the next day or two off Matty, was it, or Aideen or something like that?
Oh,
I remember, yeah, probably Matty, I'd say, yeah.
Did you fall off your chair?
A little bit, yeah. But God, I was straight away saying yes, absolutely. Let's do that. I think I'd been told about the book launch. I was invited to that, and I wasn't able to make it. I'd work, and then the phone call came after that. So yeah, I was absolutely 100% thrilled about it. Yeah, really excited about it.
Yeah, so you'd be a bit like the return of the Magnificent Seven, isn't it, really? Sort of riding again. So what was it like kind of doing your first rehearsal after such a break?
It was good fun. I think a lot of that sort of earlier, I suppose, pressure that would have been there around that time, wasn't there. So we were really having fun and loving the music. So that's what it was about then, you know. So when we got back together, there was no pressure in that sense to have success. I suppose it was really about playing the music and enjoying that, you know. And we were just preparing for that first, as far as we could see in front of us at that time. We were just looking towards doing that first gig, and we were
Right.
supporting the Frank and Walters. So that's what we were preparing for. We hadn't really discussed anything going any further than that at that stage. But one thing sort of led to another. We were enjoying it. And then we started rehearsing and demoing some new music. So this was really, really interesting to me and Aileen, I think, in particular, because we'd never heard these songs before, you know. So Matty and Eamon had been writing all this time in between. And so there was a whole back catalogue of songs that we'd never heard, that hadn't, I think in some form or other at different stages, Paul, the songs had been demoed, hadn't they, with other singers?
So when was the next time you went into the studio together?
2013, was it?
2013, yeah. Was it Ivy Avenue?
Ivy Avenue, yeah. We recorded that, and we recorded 2 tracks, I think, didn't we? Or 2 or 3.
Oh, we did. We did Ivy Avenue, and we did a B-side, actually, to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Art Attack.
Art Attack.
Yeah, that was on it, as well. Let's Play.
Right.
Yeah,
so we decided then to do an album fairly quickly after that. I think we put a week in the same studio, and we got another 7 tracks done, I think.
Yeah.
In the week, and we got a 10 track album out soon, about 6 months later, didn't we? Around that time. Yeah,
it was 2013. Yeah,
over 2013. Yeah.
Nice. And you also put out this kind of collection called Bittersweet, didn't you, as well? Which was is that and with the John Peel introduction, was that material that you had recorded back then, or was that re-recorded?
That was a new song, from that period. I think that was 2014 or 15, I think.
Yes, only 20 years ago. Yeah. No, 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah, quite, yes.
Bittersweet was a new track, but on the other side along with it, are the 4 tracks from the Peel session.
Yes, a classic, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
classic. It was great to get that out there. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then you've got this new album. So when did you start writing and recording for this one?
Well, I suppose we've been chipping away on songs now and again, all along, really. Obviously, when the big shutdown happened in 2020, with the COVID thing,
it
gave us more time. I suppose everyone wasn't doing anything, and didn't have to worry about work or life in general.
No, well, you just had to worry we were always going on about what bubble you were in, or sort of when you had your sort of appointment to have the injection or whatever it was. that was the highlight, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
It was very strange. So were you still in communication from 2015 after that release?
Yeah. Well, we had a single in 2017 as well, Temp Fate. We put that out, and we had it in the back of our minds to get something going, album-wise anyway.
Yeah.
We can never be accused of putting too much music out anyway. We're not really... We're not one of these bands that, put albums out every year or 2 years.
Yeah, you're not like Prince, are you?
No. But it was just with the COVID thing, it was great because we could concentrate fully on it, and with the old Zoom machine, we were able to work with Julie. Julie lives about 2 hours away.
Right.
So it was great to do the Zoom, just send her some melodies on guitar and structures that we'd done here, the 3 of us, and get her to try a vocal through Zoom on it, and over back and forth, just seeing what works. And I think we did pretty pretty well with it. It
Well,
turned out
yes, absolutely. I mean, the opening track is fantastic.
nice.
Dance Monkey Dance. So
Yeah,
was that one of the early songs that you put together?
yeah, that probably was 2020. Yeah, yeah, it was a newie. Again, some of them happened pretty quickly. Some of them we messed around on for a long time. Catch 22. That track took a long time to get right. It was, I don't know, just changing and chopping with it.
Yes.
But just some of them happened fairly quickly. The poppy ones, Two Wrongs, made me feel all right. That happened fairly quickly as well. And
What about Bitter and Twisted?
yeah, that could have been in the lying around somewhere for a while. I think we rejigged it a bit. Yeah, I was going for a while.
So, Julie, were you writing material for this album?
No, I don't write any of the material. No, it's all Matty and Eamon.
Right.
So I get sent, I suppose, the basic melody.
Yes.
Matty would pick out the melody on an acoustic guitar and he'd send that to me, and then I would work with that, and we sort of feel it out a little bit and demo it quite a bit. There'd be a lot of kind of tweaking and kind of figuring out the phrasing and emphasis and all of that. But a lot of that then was done when we actually got to meet again, when the restrictions were lifted.
Yes.
So we would meet up where Paul is now in the studio there in County Meath. And it became it's the first time. Well, I think we recorded Tempt Fate there, that single that we released in 2017. But we recorded all of the album in the shed, and it was a really good experience where we could really take our time. So it was all done over about a year and a half or 2 years, maybe in total.
My God! So you would just have concentrated sessions together,
Yeah.
sort of working on bits. Would you work on one particular song, or until that was finished, there before working on another, or would you sometimes sort of go from one project or one song to another?
We would maybe do 2 or 3 at any one time. I would only be able to get over maybe every couple of weeks, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. So we'd sort of make the most of it while I was there. So maybe 2, 3 songs, but then we would revisit them and revisit them and revisit them until it felt sort of right, I suppose, that it was caught, whatever sort of energy it was caught.
Yes.
I'm talking about vocals there now, of course. That's my experience, but the lads would have been working a lot longer than that on everything else.
Well,
And yeah, and Aideen then, of course, would come in. So Aideen and I didn't meet through the whole recording at all, funny enough. And I didn't meet Eamon at all through the whole thing. So when I was there, it was just me, Paul, and Matty. We worked together, the 3 of us.
Right.
And it just worked. It worked. I suppose you could have too many cooks as well,
So, Paul, are you the sort of the studio boffin, or was that Matty?
Yeah, probably the one that's the most interested in the technology side of it. Anyway, yeah.
Right.
I've been sort of getting little bits and pieces together here for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years. Probably got more into it in 2019 and got a Pro Tools rig and bits and pieces, mics and, as much as we could afford, home studio setup.
Yes, well, absolutely. I mean, it does sound fantastic, and it does have such an essence that goes right back to that first ever recording, doesn't it? Do you sort of have that kind of energy and vibe amongst you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think especially with this album, it was fun to make, and we sort of had a vision that we wanted to do what we did on it. It turned out the way we probably envisioned. Really, it's got elements of the old sound, I hope, and it's got that bit of humor in the lyrics, and I suppose they're pessimistic pop songs, really. You know, the type of vibe.
I don't know. I mean, I just thought that, it's just got such a lovely energy, and it's such a sort of enjoyable sort of romp, a bit like your first session with the John Peel sessions. So, and the artwork is also very striking as well. Who put that together?
Oh, that was me. God, I struggled with that quite a bit, actually. Sometimes things come to you a bit more easily, but this didn't. And but the photograph, I took a photograph of the river that's just down in the village here where I live.
Yes.
And the village had been hit by a tornado only a couple of weeks, but the photograph is the day after the tornado actually hit the village and ripped the place apart. It was just a freak sort of weather incident. And so I took that photograph and I started playing around with it, really. So I was thinking about the title of the album, Hein Zeitgeist. And but a lot of the songs really, a lot of them really refer to sort of the current state of the world as well. And so there is a sense of sort of chaos and uncertainty in the album, the image itself. And if you look a little closer, you can see us five would-be's, shadows of us under the water. So that's we're sort of, I suppose the title of the album is interesting in itself, because when the would-be sort of took off to begin with, we were part of that sort of indies, that late 80s, early 90s zeitgeist of indie music. And here we are after all of that. And I'm not sure if that was intended in its title or the choosing of the title, because it is a made-up word, but I think it's interesting, and that we're still here at this moment. And so all of the cover sort of reflects all of that, really, I think.
Right.
There's a lot in there.
I'm glad you pointed out the 5 images under the water, actually.
Yeah, you might see it as a sort of a shadow underneath. And the would-be's are still lurking around somewhere underneath. We don't appear very often, when we do. It's good.
It's very, it's kind of curious, actually.
Yeah.
And did you set up your Bandcamp page quite a few years ago to sort of release the music on?
Yeah, that's been there since probably 2013 or around that, I think, since the comeback. We had I think that Bittersweet one with the John Peel was available on it. I think that was the first sort of one you could buy, a hard copy. The rest are all just downloads of the older stuff, the Wonderful EP and Hardly Ever Wrong and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you get sort of many offers to play live, by the way? Do you sort of, because there's quite a few of these kind of weekend events and people are putting on all days and stuff like that. I would imagine, yes, there must be a curiosity for people to see the band live again.
Yeah, well, actually, there's something I have to talk to Julie about. I didn't mention it. I got an email from someone who wants to play a festival in Liverpool in May.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Do I have to answer right now?
Is that the International Pop Festival one?
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, that's a yes from me.
Yeah. There you go. You might see Liverpool in May.
Because I did an interview with him and I just come across this kind of event that he put together. I think he did it in America, and then this extraordinary lineup of bands, and it was like
David Bash. Is that his name?
Yes, that's the man. Well, God,
very good.
So you have got dates lined up.
Yeah, it seems there's one anyway.
One, yeah. We're trying to set up a little thing here for April at the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
A small little tour, maybe. Dublin, over the west, maybe Galway, Leitrim area. And something maybe Limerick as well. So if we get that, and Liverpool will be a nice little tour, mini tour.
Yes. And is the album available as like cassette, vinyl and CD and download?
Yeah, there was a limited edition of the CD and cassettes. We only got 50 made of the cassettes, so it was they were up as a limited edition package if you wanted to get the 3.
Yes.
But we still have vinyl available. Yeah, mostly the vinyl, and you can download it.
Yes, and are you still getting contacted by fans who remember you the first time, who reach out
Yeah.
and say, "What are you up to?" And
Yeah.
yes,
We still get a few threats. Yeah. No. Yeah. Facebook, I suppose we get a few messages, and which is nice. Some chap sent me a video. Morrissey apparently was playing "Hardly Ever Wrong" on his current tour, as on his pre-music selection.
yes.
So he sent me a video in Carnegie Hall of "I'm Hardly Ever Wrong" playing, which was nice. And
Oh my God, that must have been very strange.
yeah,
Did you ever support Morrissey at all?
yeah, we did in the National Stadium in Dublin in '91.
Right. So when he was doing
His first gig after his first solo gig, I think,
the Smiths.
after the Smiths. Well, he did that Wolverhampton, didn't he? In
Oh,
'88.
that's true. Yes. Was it a wild? Was it a wild night?
It sure was. Yeah, it was. It was mental. It was obviously because it was the first gig. It was sold out in a few minutes, I think, at the time. And I remember we went on stage. The crowd just rushed to the front and started throwing flowers at us. And I think Matty went into Big Mouth Strikes Again for the laugh, the intro, just. And yeah, it was quick and sort of a lot of mayhem as far as I can remember. Yeah.
Well, that's very nice. And with this year coming up and your dates and Liverpool, hopefully, do you have any more ideas of recording again rather than wait another 10 years?
Sorry, David, I just lost your mic.
Your mic. Yes, I was just saying, did you have plans? Oh, yes, your connection is unstable. Never mind. But yes, I just wondered if you have any more ideas or dates, or not dates, recordings or sort of sessions you're thinking for the next project.
Yeah, we're still working on new songs. I'd like to get an EP maybe together this year. It'd be nice before the summer's out. Again, after doing the album, I suppose I'd like to try something again just to see did I improve sonically on making music maybe. And
Yes, well, I would imagine now
yeah,
you've got it set up, it must be quite, it's
right.
like,
It was fun to do it, so it's a sort of a fun thing, or not artistic hobby really. It's we hope to record an EP. That's what I think. Get an EP done before the end of the year.
yes. There you go. Well, hopefully you'll be doing lots more stuff. But thank you again for this. And also, yes, I've just always loved the music. So thanks for the.
Thank you.
I know quite an ABBA here, aren't I? But yes, but I do love the new album. I think it's amazing. So yes, well, good luck for your dates in Liverpool as well.
Yeah, we
Thank
might
you.
see you there. Thanks, David.
Yes,
Dave,
well, thank you, Julie. Thanks ever so much, and thanks,
thank
Paul.
you, David. A pleasure to meet you and chat to
Yes,
you.
well, I hope so. Anyway, take care. Thanks a lot. See
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
And that, dear listener, is the end of the interview. A massive thank you to Julie and Paul for giving me the time for that. The Would-Be's, as I mentioned, new albums out, and that's on Bandcamp with potentially live dates. This has been the C86 Show, David Eastaugh. If you want to contact me, you can on any of the social media platform sites. Just do C86 Show. Also, all these interviews have been archived on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean. It's true. Have a great week. Stay safe.